What's going on, big dogs? Welcome back into the BDGE Dynasty channel. My name's Adam. If you're new to the channel, make sure you go down and both hit that like and subscribe. If you find this useful and actionable and you're into the game of Dynasty, you're not going to want to miss the content that we're bringing to you here every single week. And moving forward, if you go to our Discord, right, you can just join and become a regular Discord member and have a chance next time I ask for some Dynasty trades to talk about and yap about for you. You can submit those here and I'll go over the Dynasty trades 11 that I pulled from the Discord, recent trades that they put in the Discord recently. They want me to go over, but not just that. If you want to have a chance to yap with me a little more about your specific team every single weekend on Saturdays around 3 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to start doing a live stream for the big dog members only. So if you want to become a big dog, if you do want some more, personal Dynasty action and discussion, Saturday, come assault me with a bunch of questions. But before we get into that, I got a little bit of that tweaker in me right now. I haven't been able to get deals done, especially at a high level. Normally, I'm kind of at this point in the year starting to see a lot of traction in my leagues as far as the activity and kind of pivoting my team into whatever scenario I had currently and getting the ball rolling to what I want my team to become shortly in the near future. Right now, I'm getting freezed out, man. I can't get any trades done for me, but let's talk about the trades that you have done. I'm going to live vicariously through you. All right, so first trade here, we got Cortrix, right? He is receiving James Cook and Trey Benson, as well as a 2026 first from Matty JH6, and also a 2027 second, which without the name, it looks like he's getting his own 27 second back. He is sending away, however, while James Cook is nice, and we'll see what happens with Benson, the 104, right? Obviously, the class, think of it what you will as far as the top-end talent, but 104 is still a very prestigious and desirable pick. Plus a third from, all of a sudden, we get some action from Vikes dance coach, and we've got Brian Robinson also being thrown into this trade here. So let's go ahead and dig into this. And from the settings and what we kind of have about this, right? I like to go to the lab. So if you go to the lab, so the-lab.southharmonff.com. This is a free tool that we have right now that has a lot of really high-end stuff as far as really digging into the Sleepers API, right? So you have the opportunity with this and the tools that we kind of have built into the lab. You can go into the lab and really cook up and see what's going on and all the details that you're specifically looking for, that Sleeper basically has the code and we pull it for you in this lab for you. Now, the reason it's important is I like to talk about trades on the surface. Sure, we can just say who wins this trade, and I could do that. But what I found more often than not, and I almost don't even do that anymore unless there is no context given. So I have to answer it on the surface. The context often can actually change a lot of the dynamics completely. And if I talk about it on the surface, right, all of a sudden the context completely eradicates what I think of on the surface. Or there's also sometimes where while I talk about it on the surface, then I look at the context and it's basically doubling down. I didn't like the trade on the surface, and now the context makes it even worse. Point is, I just go to the context. I like to have the context of the trade. I think the surface level trade talk, it's not that I won't do it. I prefer to talk all the way into the context of the league. So Cortex right now in this trade, right? You can go and basically see if you go to the trades portion, you got James Cook, Trey Benson, 26 first and second. This was done on March 12th, right? So this is a start 11 lineup league, Superflex. Now, when we look at the trade on the surface, I think in general, it's pretty easy to see, right? The 104 in this class, I think, is certainly the most highly valued asset. I think there's a scenario that if you don't get, the quarterback landing spots where you have a chance to take a super flex option that you really like here, chances are that 104, if you draft a running back, you're probably going to miss out on Amari Hampson and Genty. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's better than James Cook. But if you tell me that we make this 104 into the running back position, sure, I'd rather have that than James Cook, especially with him asking for what seems like more money than the Bills are willing to fork up. And if he went to a different situation, how good would he be? And he's obviously older, so less flexibility as far as his value goes. All that said, though, look at the rest of the deal here before we get into the context. Trey Benson isn't necessarily a huge part of this, but the 26 first from Matty, right? So I am giving you this 104 pick. And this class, right, the 25 class, isn't incredibly elite at the top end. So can I give you this 104 pick as the primary piece in the deal? giving you Brian Robinson Jr. and what's realistically in a start 11, not a bad option, right? But kind of a gross add-in, and then kind of take your future in 2026 and bet against what you have overall and the team and the situation that you have currently. I want to have the chance of, if any of these little things break wrong for you, I am in the driver's seat with a pick like this that, yeah, maybe it's not going to be all that much higher than the 104, 103, 102, but the 26 class isn't the same as far as what this 25 class offers. There are some better quarterback prospects and just overall talent, I think, in the class. I'm not going to say that it's as good at the running back position, because it isn't, but you're kind of delaying, right? This delayed gratification while also getting James Cook. So I think on the surface, that's what I see. Let's see if that actually ends up adding up to be true. So here's what we're working with, right? Cortex's team has quite a bit of juice and value, right? You got Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, Bucky Irving, Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, David Njoku at the tight end spot, right? So you still see here James Cook now that he got this trade through. You got Chris Olave and Justin Herbert now at the super flex spot. Kicker and defense, you hate to see it, but hey, you guys do your league. I'm not going to yap at you about that. We got Winston, David Montgomery, Benson now on the bench, Brandon Ayuk, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell. So plenty of, solid pieces on the bench, plus some upside. This team's really good. I do think that there's some moves to be made as far as probably trying to increase the depth a little bit. However, it's not bad, right? You still got on the bench David Montgomery, which for a lot of people moving into the season would very easily be kind of, penciling into a flex spot. Trey Benson's upside. Plus, you have a lot of these, dart throw shots, Jalen Warren. I mean, a lot of not exciting things from what we saw, but anything could break their way. We got Jaden Reed, obviously disappointing year. Brandon Ayuk, same picture, but the whole team, right? Adonai Mitchell. But there's plenty of still young, promising assets here, which could go north as far as their value, but also realistically flex pretty easily for you any week where you have some injuries. So that's all to be said, on top of the fact that you have, made this pivot and got his 26 first. So let's take a look at Maddie's team. It's super MS. I don't know what the MS stands for, but it's worse than mid, okay? This is a team. Let's just see if it's actually as bad as the lab says. So off the top, we got Jordan Love, Brian Robinson, we got Jordan Mason, Smitty, Rashid Shaheed. So the way the lab does it, right? This is based on keep trade cuts value. You can basically change it to, go over to age or some other metric that it's looking at. But it's just basically putting in your roster based on what Keep Trade Cut has currently as their value for the player. So the reason that I'm bringing that up and is noteworthy, Rashid Shaheed is currently his wide receiver 2 as far as Keep Trade Cut standards go for dynasty value. This receiving core is terrible. My goodness. Roster construction is a issue here. Jalen Coker is there, Jalen Polk, Jermaine Burton, but man, really no depth. And you're talking about a start 11 league, right? Start 11, it's interesting because it doesn't sound all that much different than a start 10, right? It's one player. However, when you get into, this is a 12-team league where we're starting 11 and you start getting into those bye weeks and you see the injuries that happen throughout the year, the flex options can thin out pretty quick. And that one extra spot, while it's not, gigantically different in a start 11 league, you want to have some depth. Like I would start prioritizing depth a little bit more proactively, I would say. In a start 11, you don't even have 2 starters realistically right now for the situation. I mean, you're going to put someone in your lineup, but we're only having to start 2 receivers. So interesting one here. This is interesting. I guess I'm just looking at this, right? I'm trying to figure out the idea and what the angle is here. So we already have at this point, I don't know if the pick was slightly off, if he now has the 105, or if he's actually made multiple moves since, but he currently has the 105, the 109, and the 201. Those are the 3 picks. Now, the way that he's roster constructing, I mean, this is a guy that clearly is trying to play this, not very much attention to the wide receiver position, right? Because I've talked about the receiver position. So what you would think on the surface, at least, this is why I was having a little bit of trouble thinking about what the idea here is. So you'd kind of think, all right, well, this is a person that just wants to build more around the running back position, kind of overemphasize that position and build a ton of depth around that position. So even when injuries happen, you're extremely lucky. Your odds basically go up for the opportunity for one of these players to basically get a catapult into a starting position because you have so many, basically dart throws on the bench. That's what you're thinking, or at least I am, on a more natural thing. It's not like your running backs are elite now, right? You've lost James Cook. So penciling in, he's got JJ McCarthy and Jordan Love. This should be at the 104 running back, I would think. Although he doesn't have a quarterback 3. So again, we'll see. He does have 3 picks, but your running back room is not very good either, honestly. Like, you got Brian Robinson, you got Jordan Mason, right? Braylon Allen. Like, right now, with what this NFL draft has as far as talent goes, what Brian Robinson could be looking at situation-wise is not a lock. Jordan Mason is, I would say, anything but a lock. Very, very far cry from a lock. Braylon Allen, we already have seen, like, I called this a lot last year because people were getting really excited, and that makes sense, right? This is a young, exciting player that has he's dripping with upside. This guy's big, strong, fast, moves really well, and people were, wanting to see him continue to get more snap share. But where's it going to come from with Breece Hall? Even if the team's not that good, you just don't have a good running back room either, frankly. So now it's like, okay, in this league, Tucker Kraft is your tight end. Like, this team, even if you said right now you can slam dunk this 105, this 109, and the 201. Let's say we know you're going to hit on all 3. Even if you were to hit what is the best thing there, we don't even know how good that's going to be, right? We don't even know how early that's going to help your team contribute. You have holes in your roster currently as it stands. So obviously you don't like giving up the 104, but this is one of those things. It's a poison pill, right? This trade comes down to, you could look at a lot of the players and the assets that are being moved, and you could like one side or the other. I still think, even if you tell me this isn't a poison pill, I probably lean the quarterback side, just because I'm essentially getting off of Brian Robinson, and he probably has some stability, right? Some low, not very appealing stability. But I get Trey Benson as far as the upside that he hopefully has, which we haven't seen yet. But I basically get to, while giving up this 104, get James Cook and have the opportunity for what's to come in 2026, and also kind of like this get out of jail free card where maybe if I have an injury or multiple injuries which were unforeseen, now I have this 26 first, hopefully my own or some of my other picks that I can now go ahead and try and send right now away to get out of jail when you have some things just go really wrong for your team. So I already lean that side, but then the poison pill is crazy because the 104 doesn't have a player right now that we know of. I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to act like that can't become a really good player in Dynasty. It can, certainly can. And the running back position can do that, but I don't really see that pick and what he's currently working with as like, yeah, this is you can kind of fill out the positions that you need as far as cornerstones or like serious building blocks for your team, that you can kind of not worry about what's going to happen during this season and what kind of a oopsie daisy mess you're going to be in if you fuck this up. Like, this is easy. Give me the poison pill of Cortex. I'm probably already over yapping that one. All right, so let's go ahead and, oh, here we go. See, y'all, all right. What is going on here? We're starting off just abusing people. Now, listen, Juwan Jennings was good, and obviously with Debo out, the uncertainty around Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall, even if you really like him, he's a complete projection at this point. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be projecting him well. Juwan Jennings has an opportunity that he's still going to be a sneaky good player. I'm not trying to act like he can't be very good for fantasy, relevant at least, I should say. But here's the thing, right? Hollywood Brown, Cedric Tillman, Kendrick Bourne. Again, this league, you only have to start 2 receivers. So guys this far down, not Jennings, but Hollywood Brown, Tillman, Bourne, for me in this format, they're bordering what I would consider a roster clogger. Basically, they have some dynasty value. They're going to be someone that you can look at on your team and feel somewhat secure because you know that there's a value attached to that player, and somehow the community basically gives you that value because we all know the names. Maybe Hollywood Brown, depending on what the situation is for KC, but I don't know how likely it is for me that I'm going to feel comfortable. Not saying that I wouldn't be forced to, that I'm going to be comfortable starting any one of these players in this format. That's insane to say out loud and then think, you got a first and a second. Like, who are these people? I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out who these people are, okay? I'm going to let you know who is the fish. But the thing is, the 27 move here is brilliant on top of it, right? I mean, this is just criminal behavior, but the 27 first and second getting some liquidity in that class and having some upside plays of, if you get mid or early first, because kind of same thing, right? Poison pill here. We're doing poison pill early and often here. So here's the really interesting part. Like this is one of these things that this shit doesn't make sense to me. Right now, just sliding on paper, right? So this isn't an end all be all, but all these people you just acquired, right? And realistically, the only one that should be starting in a league like this would be Juwan Jennings. And he's the only one that you're right now penciling in as a starter. So I guess you sent away a 27 first and second. And while you did get some depth and some players that I guess, like Tillman had plenty of moments last year. So maybe he builds on that with the new situation. Hollywood Brown, we'll see. But like, you don't have, you didn't really get much back in the way of, stability from those other players. You just got Jennings, and you got rid of all your flexibility, every little last ounce of flexibility you have left with this team, right? Literally, exactly. You have no picks left. Your liquidity's done. We'll see in this league, there's some teams that have such high pick values overall, right? They have so much of their overall team's value put into the draft picks slot that maybe this, even if his team kind of implodes, it can't be the 101 or 102 or 103. But this is a very good chance to probably get there even still. Oh my gosh. What is going on? These are just fleeces right now. Everybody's just fleecing one another. Maybe this is why I'm not getting trades done. I need to send some more egregious offers. All right, so here I am. I'm rocking the Garrett Wilson. I'm staying true. A lot of people are trying to get Garrett Wilson from me. It's not going to happen. All right, it's not happening. Not today. Maybe some other day, but not today. All right, and we got Justin Fields as a part of this, and I think Justin Fields, obviously, from the situation we were hoping for with Garrett Wilson, right? Make sure we say that, hoping for, because it was a terrible situation realistically. But we were hoping for Aaron Rodgers to step in and be the talent and the guy that just is going to get the ball to Garrett Wilson, target hog, all through his first 2 years, dripping with the upside potential. And Justin Fields is not going to have that high level of passing volume. It nukes, I think, in theory, some of the upside. However, remind you, Justin Fields was the quarterback for the Bears when they had incredibly low passing volume, and DJ Moore was the wide receiver 6 that year, catching from Justin Fields. And you look at this situation for the Jets, obviously Adams is gone now, and it's again Garrett Wilson's world as far as the pass catching role goes, and Fields has thrown to Garrett Wilson before. I think there's more upside to that, at least in my opinion, than meets the eye for a lot. I get the idea of it not being, him having a chance to, like he was last year, if he, smashed and everything kind of broke right, where he's in the same breath as the top 3, 4, 5 players at the receiver position. That probably isn't there, but he still, to me, is a wide receiver 1 upside type of a player that's probably got a floor to still be wide receiver 15, 18, 19, right, in that range. I think it's a lot of the panic I feel like is a little bit overblown, but I understand the concept. So we're getting Justin Fields and a 106 Justin Fields, the 106 in a second. We're trading away Bryce Young, the 109 in a second. So it's a 26 and 27 second. Now, this one is interesting because I'll just say this, right? Justin Fields, to me, is the player at the quarterback position here that I want to bet on of the two. Now, I like Bryce Young and the late rise that he had last year. Also was running the ball towards the end of the season a lot more than we've seen before, and I think that most people would have expected him to, period. Now, with Fields, I think right now the floor is not great for either one of these. And I actually recently in a team review, it did a trade centered around Fields and Bryce Young too, but with the person doing the review for getting Fields. My thing is, I think Fields' upside, even still with the potential promise we saw with the late season for Bryce Young, I still think Justin Fields' upside is higher, period. Justin Fields in that offense that was pretty abysmal in Chicago, right? He was a quarterback 1 in this Pittsburgh offense where like the passing volume super low, his overall passing numbers, statistics, like raw counting stats, not very high. And he just ran the football. He was a quarterback 1 again. This is a guy that basically, if he suits up, because of his legs and his rushing upside, quarterback 1, low end quarterback 1 is pretty much in the cards. Obviously with him, we've seen where if he loses that starting gig, it becomes panic season. But he's a lot more appropriate value here. And I think Bryce Young now, obviously, because they don't have much else, right? They put so much investment into Bryce Young. They don't have like a great backup plan. They thought they did in Andy Dalton, but anyway, 109 and 106 in this class. So me, Nick, and Gut, we all just did a mock yesterday. It was based on landing spots that we don't know if that's going to be what happens again. But in that mock particularly, I was feeling very much like the 104 to the 109. Based on what we knew about the landing spots in the draft capital, they didn't seem like wildly different as far as the players that you're going to be drafting there. So the 106 and 109 I don't think is a huge deal. I still think I want the field side here because the 106 does have a chance to, if things do break right in draft capital, we could be looking at a different mock where that 106 is really, really intriguing. I do want that plus Fields. I think the floor is still lower with Fields as far as like the floor falling out. If he's playing football, the floor is fine. The problem is, does he stay a starting quarterback for very long? That's going to be what's interesting to see. I thought he actually was pretty damn good for Pittsburgh given what we thought of that situation and what we thought of how he played. You can go take a look at some of the raw metrics for Fields. He actually had his money throws were completely different. And he was in a position, I think, where just the offense maybe isn't the most competent, but that system helped him kind of show some of the confidence that he didn't really have a lot in Chicago. So I'm going to take Fields here. So here I'm doing it. I'm giving you the trade on the surface without talking the context. And I think the one thing, the context can change it here for me quite a bit. I will say, depending on how safe and stable your quarterback rooms are, I could totally see where you would much rather have the Bryce Young side if you needed quarterback stability. I don't think it's actually like light years safer that Bryce Young is going to continue to be the quarterback. But given the level of investment, what we saw in the back half of the season, he's in a pretty decent spot to maintain that starting job. I think Fields is too, but I think the floor, like Fields could find himself out of being a starter quicker, in my personal estimation, although it's not that much different. So we got Benjamin 101 getting Fields the 106 and the 2027 second. We got Cryptic Fallout getting Bryce Young the 109 and that second 2026. So let's take a look at the two teams here, Cryptic Fallout and Benjamin. So Benjamin, right? And this is kind of making sense. I like what I'm seeing already. He is the team that has what currently is, as far as keep, trade, cut starter. So the starting roster for this team, which you're seeing 3 receivers and 2 flexes, right? So 5, 6 the tight end, 7, 8 for the 2 running backs, 9 and 10 for the super flex. So you're looking at, oh, wait a minute here. Wow, this is a 3 quarterback league? I mean, you're getting a quarterback both ways. So, you know, from the standpoint of the players, not make it quite as interesting. But if we're starting 3 quarterbacks where, again, 2 super flex options, I like the 106 and Fields quite a bit more with this context. See, give me the context. Because 106, I think, has a chance to, if we see a scenario where Jackson Dart does get first-round draft capital, right there at 106, I feel like you're going to get a very highly drafted and thought of skill player, or be able to get a first-round quarterback in Superflex. And understanding that already a first-round quarterback in Superflex very high, but you're talking about you should optimally be starting 3 quarterbacks. So that math already doesn't work out, right? 36 quarterbacks in this league, man. Yeah, I want the Fields in the 106 side. I'd rather have the upside play of Fields as my 3rd quarterback, and at 106 have a chance to get another one. And because of the quarterback, basically because of the scarcity, the quarterbacks are going to be more highly desired, meaning if you do miss out on a quarterback, you're going to get a great player. So I'm going to take Benjamin's side, but let's just see for context here. Cryptic Fallout, where are we at here? What are we working with, dog? So Drake May, Bryce Young, no 3rd quarterback option. We'll see. I mean, I guess if Jackson Dart doesn't get first-round draft capital, you can throw it out the window. You're probably not getting Shador there, but you probably just got rid of the opportunity to get a 3rd quarterback, which is going to leave you in a rebuild spot. But you do still have 104. Okay, so let me take that back. You also have 426 first and 427 first. Okay, I like it for both sides, right? Context makes a lot of sense here where if you're worried about Fields not being able to maintain his starting role, going ahead and getting a safer asset, and one that showed upside later part of last year in Bryce Young. For me, though, the way I wouldn't worry about like I know Fields is going to expire, right? His dynasty value is going to expire, but I can move him to a team that needs a quarterback in this league. I could always move a quarterback like Fields in a league that I'm starting 3 QBs. So, I will take the Fields side. I would rather try and trade Fields coming off of a couple pop weeks if I could and get more out of it than this, but I get de-risking. All right, so next trade. Drew C. All right, so we got, Justin Fields is back. Oh, this is a big boy deal. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 316. So we got a 16-team Dynasty Superflex PPR with tight end premium. So you get to 16-team leagues. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I played in a handful, quite a bit of 14-team leagues. I never played in a 16 team league, and I don't understand why some people want to do it and why you're a degenerate and why you are truly unique. To me, it's a little bit too becomes too extreme, where the scarcity becomes just it becomes such a massive dynamic and hammer that you can try to leverage in the market, where to me it becomes too much. Anyway, not that I wouldn't play in one, but it's we're living on the extremes here. Now, the reason that's important in the 16 team league, right? If you're just thinking about, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and while he's not as young as he was 2 years ago, this guy's still got plenty of shelf life. He's still an elite player. Getting off of him for Jordan Addison, while he did have, he started to come along a lot better. Ended up having a really nice finish actually last year. But that plus Fields in the 205 is nowhere near enough for Amon-Ra. However, in a league like this, in 16 teams, right? Because when you have 16 teams, you spread out from 12. You got 4 more teams that are literally rostering entire regular teams, right, as far as the values of the players. So you basically make it extremely thin, to where like depth is important, just because nobody has depth, meaning your flex spots become significantly lower valued for the teams that aren't roster constructed correctly, and also that just get unlucky and get bad breaks. So in a 16 team league, while this might feel really gross to you, getting this type of a haul where, listen, the 205 in this class is probably going to project to get a running back of consequence, and one that, like, whether he hits or not, that's a player that on the bench, that's an extra piece that you can go ahead and try to maneuver around to actually get 3 potential starters for Amon-Ra. Now, just think of that what you will, but with 16 teams, it becomes pretty interesting. Now, what I want to do here is go into the lab again. Let's see what Drew C's rocking with. All right, so this is a 32 team league. Basically, it's 2 copy though, right? So it's actually 2 16 team leagues. What that means is that there's 2 versions of each player, 2 copies of each player. But I played in some 2 copy leagues, but I was trying to get my head wrapped around what the hell is going on here in this league. All right, so Drew C, and the main thing here is, okay, one, what is everyone required to start, right? This is a 1 quarterback league essentially, right? So we got running back, wide receiver, 3 flexes, and a super flex spot, and then we have a bunch of benches, tons of benches and picks. Already, right, 1 quarterback changes everything that I was talking about here. Fields is, I mean, like, I like him, but 1 quarterback, I don't need to even entertain that when I'm losing Amon-Ra. And then 205, again, it's not like the quarterback position is very deep, so it's still a fine pick, but 1, the quarterback dynamic is massively different. But 2, you're starting 6 players? This is hella shallow, which makes the 16 team format a little bit negated. It doesn't make it quite as extreme because everyone's starting smaller rosters. If we're only starting 6 players, it's Amon-Ra by leaps and bounds. So sometimes with these really extreme formats, whether it's heavy player rosters or the overall what your starting lineup looks like is wildly different. It changes the values of what you should be doing and kind of thinking about for your team. What are optimal moves? And I don't know how many leagues the other person's playing in, but it's GRYF the rip. I'm just thinking, guy, if you got ripped off, man, but maybe you'll live to fight another day. Let's go ahead and get this one off here, though. That was a crazy wild trade. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Yucky. What is happening? Someone explain this to me. I'm not doing a good enough job seeing and understanding this at this point. Someone explain. This is insane. Ramondre Stevenson in the 107. So one of these things does not belong. Okay, I'm going to have you guys tell me which one doesn't belong. Ramondre in the 107 for Travis Etienne in the 212. Guys, what the fuck are we doing here? The Rhino may be low-key cooked. I don't know if he is for sure, but isn't Travis Etienne also like low-key cooked right now? The difference, tell me the difference between Etienne and Ramondre Stevenson, realistically. Maybe you think Etienne has more bounce back potential. Maybe you just like the name. You're not willing to quit him. Fine. There is no world in which the 107 belongs in this deal at all. It's the most valuable piece in the deal. What is the angle? What is the, like, are you, I just don't get it, man. I don't see that type of upside for ETN when at the 107, you're going to be able to draft a running back that's very likely a early day 2 guy in a loaded class. You get to reset completely. I don't get it. I don't like it. And we're moving on. I don't need the context. I don't need any of it. There's no world in which I'm doing this. No chance. All right, Pat Day, you're back, right? So that was you there. Let's see if you get a chance to redeem yourself. This time, it's Aaron Jones, the 112 and the 312 for Jordan Addison, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Michael Penix. Okay. So again, let's just go ahead and go to context first. Let's see what we're working with here in this. We got one quarterback league. Michael Penix in a one quarterback league. I don't care, man. Like y'all can have him. I talked all that shit last offseason, and rightfully so. Look, Michael Penix's value is wildly higher than it was in the draft point, but one quarterback, like I don't even have to worry. I don't have to mess and fiddle with Penix at all in a deal in one QB. So that changes the dynamic there. So it's really Aaron Jones, the 112, the 312 for Addison and McLaughlin. I mean, even still, right? Like Addison's worth more than the 112. So, and then what do you believe really in Aaron Jones? So let me look at the teams real quick. Pat Day. Pat Day now moves off of Addison, but his receivers currently are Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Reed, Jalen McMillan. That's it though. It gets gross. Got my guys from, I had Elijah Moore and Ray McLeod and Fade the Fetal. Did not feel good. You got the 106, the 107, and the 112, and the 114. Are we in the? Hold on, man. I'm 14. All right, 14 team, 1 QB. Okay. So you got 4 firsts plus Aaron Jones. You get off of Addison. I think I really like this trade for Pat Day. You only have to start 2 receivers, right? It's another shallow league. So we're starting wide receiver, running back position, and a flex, which is crazy. It just limits all that really means is it limits you from starting 3 tight ends. You can start 4 receivers, but you only have to start 2. So, like, I like Addison still. I think he would easily be, for me, wide receiver 3 on this team, or if someone's really out on Marv, he'd be in the conversation for 2. But he's someone when I'm looking at my team, right, if I'm just betting on the current situation I have with Malik and Marv, I don't need to have a Jordan Addison as my wide receiver 3. I would like to. I think putting him in a flex in this league is actually really nice from the standpoint of his inconsistency can kind of be outweighed by roster constructing around him, right? More solid, better players in other positions to where you might be able to get away with some of his poor weeks. Basically, he throws you not a 0, but bad weeks. But when he goes off, that's like week winning potential, right? In the flex spot for just that scenario. I like it. I need to go look real quick at Jake Diamond. And this team, so his team is towards the bottom here as far as the starting roster goes. But then again, it looks like he is towards the top as far as the picks go. Now, so this gives you Penix. Wow. So in one quarterback, well, Tua and Penix, Geno, too many quarterbacks that are all not necessarily super high upside. But you got Montgomery, Braylon Allen, JSN, Ladd, Hunter, Henry, Jordan Addison, Keon Coleman. Let's see how many picks. Hopefully it's a lot of picks. 103, 203. You got your own 26 first. All right. So yeah, you still got your work cut out for you. I don't mind this though, actually looking at this, right? I don't know how this league works in 14 team, 1 quarterback. If Penix is a movable, like, okay, let me word it like this. If Penix is a live asset, meaning you put him on the block or you kind of make him knownly available in trade and you can move him pretty reasonably. I actually like that, the 4D play, right? Moving Penix, because I think you have a little bit too much at the QB position now. I understand getting off of Aaron Jones and wanting to just get out of the value that he currently has. And I think in this format, you might be able to get away with it. I still think, though, you just have a lot. You got a lot of addressing to still do with this team. I mean, JSN, Ladd, and Addison, though, feels good to build around those young guys. You're just going to have to keep sticking with the process, and this is probably a process trade. I think, though, I get wanting to just move off of Aaron Jones, especially because, we have no idea what they're going to do in the draft. Probably bring someone in. So there's some value loss potentially coming, but he might be one of those players. When I have this much cleanup to do, I'm fine with this trade, but I might just see if I can hold until the year starts, and then can I trade him to somebody that actually is trying to bolster their starting roster during the season. I might be able to get a little bit of a value bump that I can trade away. All right, so I like that for both sides, actually. Context is important. This one, man, what is going on? I know why I can't make trades. Dude, Brandon Ayuk for the 10. Okay, we already have the 103 right now. From a market standpoint, my guess is that most people will say 103 over Ayuk. Why? There's 2 more firsts, y'all. The 26 and 27. K Swiss is out here just Swiss cheesing it, giving it all away. Jordan Whittington, just being a part of this action is kind of sweet too. This is mayhem. There's no format justification for this other than you were related to Brandon Ayuk and you had to do this. This was a must-make trade for you, and the only way you're going to get him by overpaying significantly. Like, honestly, if you told me that it was the 103 in a first, I'm still kind of going crazy. Like, why are we doing this? The 103, I'd probably just rather have that 103 than Ayuk. Right now, I don't want to make the bet on Ayuk coming off the injury. I like him. I'm willing to make the bet at a certain point, just not at the 103. Okay, so I'm sorry if, this could be that meme. Like, stop. He's already dead. But sorry, I'm not sorry. All right, I'm going to be honest. There's so much chaos and pandemonium here. Ant Lokren is not in the league anymore. So this is I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You don't take up on all these picks and get in a much better position to orphan a team away. But I'll be honest with you. It's not in the best interest of all of your time, because this is either an insane league setting and crazy devaluing of picks, or we just are robbed. Speaking of which, let's go ahead. Can we get it again? Can we rob again? Aaron Rodgers at this point, right? Sleeper team 1 and team 2. Yeah, y'all are making me really work for it today. A second and a third. So I'm just envisioning right now, which it says up here, right? 12-team Dynasty, Superflex, PPR, tight end premium. I'm not paying right now for Aaron Rodgers a second and a third. Just not doing it. Like, not happening. Even if my back's up against the wall, I have an awful situation that I'm looking forward to at the quarterback spot. Like, I'm not getting safe by getting Rodgers. There's no way. I think this is, at this time of the year, this is a pretty easy dub just to get the liquidity, even though it is in 2026. Listen, I'll just be honest. The way I'm building in this 12-team Superflex league, if I'm really in a bad spot at the quarterback position, getting Rodgers and trying to basically put Flex Seal on this problem I have, it's not going to work, and it's too much of an investment personally for me. Like, I'm not doing it. I'd rather honestly use a 3rd-round pick or a 2nd-round pick on I'll throw it away for Jalen Milroe, but if he does actually start, he'll have some rushing upside that'll be very likely much better than whatever Rodgers can give you for the rest of his remaining days at the NFL level. No, thank you. I'll take the picks. All right, here we go. Let's get crusty. Let's get really ugly here. 10-team. All right, so we're 10-team. Shallow, Jalen Wright in the 402 or Kamara. Listen, I know people have basically been every single year for I don't know how many years now, it seems like, been preying on Kamara's downfall. And I get it from the, just the vibe standpoint. Like, you're tired of it. You want to see someone else in there. But the Saints aren't building that way. We'll see what they do in the draft. This is a very good opportunity for them to, get a running back in of consequence. They tried to do so with Kendra Miller. He's been injured, or not him. Let's take a look, though. When I'm thinking about a 10-team league, right, the path for Jalen Wright to become someone I'm really excited about is tons of injuries and thrust into a situation where last year he didn't even have in positive, decent situations as far as, like, can he get some more snap share, actually get some run that's meaningful? It never came to fruition. I'm not saying his career's dead, but I mean, it might be. He may not really develop into anything at the NFL level. And then it's a 10-team league where I have to, doing the math on this, I'm probably going to have to feel really good about him, like, being the primary ball carrier when he is a starter in an injury-riddled, running back room. Kamara, it's unsexy, but this is an easy win to Kamara, in my opinion. I mean, I guess, like, in the 4th round in a 10-team league, it's like a late 3rd-round pick or whatever, taking the teams out. But like you have a dart throw, right? Unless you end up moving that pick or something, that's a dart throw, right? You have a dart throw in this class, and a dart throw that's looking like it was a dart that kind of missed the board, right? Didn't register if you're into playing darts. Like, it shit didn't count. Like, Kamara probably realistically is going to have another fantasy relevant season. I'm not going to say he's some crazy difference maker, but I feel like you nuked the value. So Fuzio, whatever the name is, well played. SpongeBob SquarePants. A lot of these are easy so far, man. Y'all are out here with agendas, ruining people's days. Kamara's back. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the last one here. This one I saw chatter back and forth in the Discord about this trade, and the person sending away Kyler was basically defending this trade to the rest of the people on an island. I don't really need a ton of context here. I read a little bit of what was going on, and it's kind of easy to see, right? Kyler Murray had a very poor season last year, and if you have him and you kind of overreact, right, it's very easy to think that he's not going to be, like I talked about, a live asset. He's not going to be someone that's easily moved, and this person is in what he thinks is a cleanup for his team. Now, I get all that, and I get just saying from a standpoint of the principle of the manner, right? Not the specifics of this one. Just in principle, getting off of an asset that you want to get more out of, but you just feel like the value's going the wrong way, and you need to just get out what you can at the moment. Problem here is this is a 12-team Superflex Dynasty League, right? Kyler Murray, even on his worst days, because of the fact that the contract situation around him, and like look at, again, the NFL quarterbacks are so rough at some points for some teams that Kyler's, even if after Arizona, if something was, if he's no longer the QB in Arizona at some point, he'll probably start somewhere else as well. His rushing floor, again, makes him, I guess at this point, like an unappealing and uninspiring, very safe, like mid quarterback 2, high end quarterback 2 with low end quarterback 1, if not higher upside. Obviously last year was rough for him. I get it. He was disappointing, but think about the 108 right now. You might be able to, if things break your way, that Jackson Dart gets late first round draft capital and you could get a quarterback there. But even then, like, do you just want to get off of Kyler Murray for the worst version of the quarterback position that's a rookie this year? I don't even know if that's the idea of that. I'm just thinking about from what the 108's worth and his value currently. I think to make this work, like, you're going to need to hit a lot of things. A lot of dominoes are going to have to kind of be lined up correctly and fall in your favor. 108 is going to have to be someone you end up probably drafting or moving in a very good trade swindle in the draft or leading up to the draft. And if you sat there and took it, you'd have to have a very big hit, a home run type of a thing where the 108 now has a great season. That person, that player, draft a running back that all of a sudden is, a top 10, top 12 finisher for the season, right? And that, you see their dynasty value skyrocket. Maybe then you're getting close to, you probably have a win in that scenario, right? Versus Kyler. I'm not even sure that you would, but you probably would. And then the 303 at that point becomes just like, the 303 is not a secure enough of an asset at all, even though I like the thirds in this class because I can draft a lot of, I think, talented running backs that are going to have, they're going to have their issues as far as getting on the field early potentially, but they're too talented to not see the field at some point. And that's what I'd love to have in Dynasty, especially in lineup leagues. But the 303 is just not enough to make up that difference, considering the 108 is not likely to make up the value of Kyler outside of him, probably getting a really significant injury during the season and he misses the rest of this coming up season. And then his certainty is really, really, really far out there. This is just one of those things where it's okay at times not to make a trade. And even if this is the direction you want to go, right? You want to rebuild. I get it, but sometimes you just have to be patient on a player like Kyler Murray, and it's not fun. It's not the most appealing thing to do, but I'm just not making this trade specifically, right? I'm not even telling you that I wouldn't try to get rid of Kyler for the right offer, but realistically, like, Kyler Murray right now is a valued. He's currently valued at basically the floor he's ever seen. We saw coming off the injury that year when he got hurt, his value dipped quite a bit lower than we've ever seen before, probably in the same range, but I'm not trading that player in a straight up for just draft picks at the time right now. Think about the draft picks have now increased in value. They've accrued as much value as they're probably ever going to get, maybe slightly a little more at this point. But you're trading off of these 25 picks, a later first, a mid first, whatever, and a third, right? Those are getting close to their peak value as far as the assets are going to be. Relative to Kyler, who's a significant faller in value. I can't do this. Even if you are in a market where Kyler's just going to have to be parked on my team all offseason, so be it. Sometimes you just have to, bite the bullet and look at that little Kyler Murray that's on your team, waiting and hoping to get back on the field and increase in dynasty value for you. Because this is not it personally. This is one of those things where in Superflex, right, if you get now Kyler at this price, regardless of what your quarterback room is, he slides into you as a very cheap option now at the super flex spot. Or if you have an excess at QB now, you just have so many different things in your chamber, in your disposal to make future trades moving forward. So, sorry, don't do that. Anyway, I would still love to be making trades even if people are telling me that they're an L. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this. If you want to have some discourse about some of the things that I said about certain players, let me know all that. If you want your deals looked at by me, talked about on a future trade episode, make sure you hit up the Discord, go in there and post them when I at everybody. Make sure you put a hashtag Hain to let me know that those are the trades for Dynasty Reviews. And also, if you want to be a Big Dog member, come check me out 3 o'clock on Saturdays. I'll yap at you, answer all your questions. That's all I got. I'll see you back here, same time, same place next week. I'm out of here. Peace.